kind of
Aaron, I was looking her up right now, Zach. Hold on.
right. I was like, I know it was some history being made. This Black History.
Aaron Jackson.
Aaron Jackson, good.
So Aaron Jackson, and we're also joined by Sir Ken. Welcome, Sir Ken. Are you using you using like a cell phone?
Yeah, I was gonna get my MacBook. I read the email a little late.
No, you can use your cell phone. It look odd now, but
okay, well I can change it.
Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna make it work. There you go. You look fine.
So Ken, that's Zach's light shade. So be prepared for it. That's a little.
It's not much. And
make a landscape that way it will look just like a computer.
Yeah, see if that works. It may work. Now listen, we are excited to have Sir Ken with us. Sir Ken is the host of the radio program, the BBC Show. Sir Ken, now I'm excited. When are we going to be able to stream and listen to the next episode? Because I'm ready.
Okay. Hold on.
Because that's what we need to see. That right there is what we need to see, so we get the full range of this background. I see some. It looks like a really well done space. So tell us about this show and when we can see this show, and then you're gonna give us your grade for Black History Month before we go into our first topic. And let me cue up the first topic. Yeah, it's about your favorite girl, Wendy Williams, and Sherry Shepherd, and the update. Okay, so Ken, tell us about when we can see the show.
So it's a live radio show with iHeart every Wednesday now from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is live, so it starts most of the time on.
The cell phone gonna get you every time. It's what the cell phone do. But you come back right back. There you go. Now you say
that wasn't my connection though, right?
It was God. So Ken. Now you said the show is live every Wednesday.
So every Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is live. So it's on iHeartRadio. It's the internet radio. Like you can get the app. It's on everything. Siri, Google, you listen to it in your car, your TV, smart TV. You can listen to it anywhere. All you have to do is type up WTT radio station, and it'll listen to me live every Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Wow! And so, what will we hear on the BBC show?
So it's like a regular radio station, and regular radio play. So you hear music anywhere. Sometimes I feel like house music. When I first started the radio show, a lot of my fan base wanted house music, but then as I had a show that ran behind Cheryl Underwood, who's on our sister station, they kind of wanted hip hop and R&B. So I kind of switch it up depending on how I'm feeling. So you go house music, R&B, hip hop, sometimes old school, sometimes new school. I just switch it up. But there's music, and then of course, like any other radio show, there's sections where we talk about politics, we talk about sex, my favorite part. We talk about pop culture. We talk about, so on my show we celebrate Black History, but we celebrate it every show. So we don't just do it Black History Month, we do it all year long. So every show there's a segment where we discuss someone powerful in Black history. What else do we talk about? We talk about so much. It's literally, I always say at the beginning of my show, the introduction, it's all over the place, like my personality. So it's just something where you wind down, you have your drink, and just be entertained. And it's totally
uncensored. Is it just you, or do you have like a team?
It's just me. I have special guests just about every week. This Wednesday, actually, I have a lady by the name of Monica Upson. She has a book she just released where it talks about how your kids can learn to cooperate with mom during her period. So, that's very interesting because I think I've never thought about something, which I think is brilliant because it's kind of like a friendly and kind of like childish, not childish, but I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a friendly way to explain to your kids, hey, mommy is on her period. This is what you may notice about mommy, and this is how you can help mommy during the week of her on her menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In my house, that was like Bruno. Okay, we don't talk about Bruno. Nor do we talk about that? You just carried on. But in addition, when you talk about Black history, we're getting ready to talk about Wendy and Sherry. But before we talk about Wendy, we talk about Sherry. We're talking about Black history. We're really talking about Vince Ashton. Now, Vince, welcome back. You have just finished an international barrage of activities. It's just like like all over the globe. Vince Ashton literally is on Food Network Canada, and what's the show?
The Great Chocolate Showdown.
The Great Chocolate Showdown. And I will say, when I saw the cast, I only saw one chocolate in Black History Month, and that was you.
No, it was two of us, me and Brianna.
Oh,
Brianna.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, she's
and
from
so
Detroit.
I'm super excited. I know you can't tell us a lot of details about the show, but we may have some kind of like Atlanta watch party or somewhere we can all watch you on this chocolate showdown. Did you enjoy the experience?
I definitely did. It was an experience like no other. I went through all the emotions that exist known to man. You know, I was excited. I was exhausted. I was pissed. I was just all over the place. But at the end of the day, it was definitely just a pivotal moment, you know, just in my career and in my life. And if you just know the backstory of me as a baker, never even intended to be a baker. It's a cheesecake. The baking company happened on a fluke, and then a fluke turned into a business, turned into a whole, international show opportunity. So it's a blessing all in all. So I ain't complaining at all.
And so now, Zach, you were saying about the national, and what about this national anthem?
Vince?
Yeah, so the College Park Skyhawks, which is the G League team, NBA G League. So they're like second to Atlanta Hawks. We'll put it like that because I don't want to minimize their skills because they are very talented basketball players on that team or what have you. So yeah, College Park 2 Chainz has some type of say-so and investment in the team. I remember when they first came on the scene, maybe around 2018, 2019, that was a big thing. And then attached to the Georgia International Convention Center down in College Park is an arena. And that's where they actually play. And it's like a baby State Farm arena. Like it's a legit basketball game, announcer, all that, so on and so forth. So to make a long story short, we were in talks to possibly have me become one of the game show hosts for the remainder of the season. And so while I was in conversation with the program director for the Skyhawks, she was like, "Yo, you're a singer too?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Hey, our national anthem person actually just called out. Are you available to do it?" This was a Wednesday conversation. The game was on Friday. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to pull up and, I practice and, national anthem. That's a song that you cannot mess up. You got to be on your P's and Q's. Can't start too high. Make sure you start on the right key, all of the things." And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The crowd loved it. And hopefully starting in March, I will be in the rotation of hosting Skyhawks games in effort to be a game host in the Atlanta Falcons because they work directly parallel with the NBA Atlanta Falcons. So
see, we loved it. We love it. See what I'm talking about, Sir Ken? And that's some Black history to have on the BBC show.
Absolutely. Come on.
Now, but you put Vince on the BBC show. He might do Sherry Shepherd to you the way that she did Wendy Williams, right? This is now the big news and kind of the first story. Everyone who watches the show, you know how I feel about Wendy. I will not say it again. You know what I think about Wendy. But it seems as though it's being reported the Wendy Williams Show is being rebranded, retooled to now become the Sherry Shepherd Show. Gentlemen and audience members, what do you think about these ankles?
I'm here for it. I'm very here for it.
I agree. I'm here for it as well. I think sometimes you can reap what you sow. Wendy has been, I don't know, detrimental to our community, especially talking about a lot of the stuff that a lot of our celebrities in a negative way and painting other celebrities in a positive way. And so I think once you come after some of God's people, and what was it? Who was it? Auntie
Tabitha Brown.
Tabitha Brown, right? She said she came out one of God's people, and look, I wish her nothing but the best, beautiful gowns and everything. But the WW is now the SS show.
You know, Vince, do you agree? I mean, you were going to say so, Ken?
So for me, really quickly, I agree with the angle of, like they say, do not mess with God's anointed or what have you. But then I also think that Stranger Things just put out a promo and their tagline says, with every end is a new beginning. And I feel like Wendy Williams has been doing so much for so long. I really think that it was probably time for her to retire, whether the health scares or not. She's had a career of longevity. And I think it was probably time for her just to go ahead and sit down. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm one of those people where I do believe in karma, but I wouldn't necessarily say that because of her doing her job, which is what a lot of other pop culture shows do, which is discuss celebrities. I don't think that is the result of her losing her show. I think it was just like Vince said, she's been in mainstream media for a very, very long time. And in addition to all of that, this is someone that has gone through a horrific divorce, in addition to losing their mom, in addition to battling drug addiction. And then of course having the thyroid disease. I think it was just a combination of all of those things coming at one time. It probably just affected her in a way that, I can't say that I would honestly probably be mentally prepared where a show is of a priority, especially when I have millions of dollars sitting in the bank. She still has her production companies. She still have other investments that she's tied to. I don't think that, and I still honestly think that even though it will be Sherry's show, if they're still going to use her production and her staff, she still gets a coin behind it. I think that if Sherry's going to, have her own show and then not be any affiliation with Wendy Production, then it's some coins lost. But I mean, how much money does one need when you have millions of dollars in order to live a happy life? I don't think she's bothered by it. I mean, she chose Sherry to co-host for her show during her absence, so I don't think there's any bad blood. I do think that when it comes to ego, that could probably play a little part where she may feel some kind of way now. But at the end of the day, I think it's just be water under the bridge once Sherry starts the show. And, I don't think that it's karma. I mean, Wendy was just doing everything that you have your ET Nightly, your TMZ, everybody, they do the same thing. I think that some celebrities she do talk a lot more about as far as black, but I don't think she honestly thinks, well, let me just tear down all the black people and not get white people, because I've seen her talk about white people just as much as black people.
So I don't really, if Wendy Williams will continue to produce the Sherri Shepherd show, I will not watch the Sherri Shepherd show.
Why not?
Because I do not support Wendy Williams because of the damage she's done to the black community. Now, Sir Ken, you make a good point. Now, I'm going to explain. When you look back at the history of this woman and her and all of the, and you hit the nail on the head. Yes, she is absolutely a recovering drug addict, possibly still a drug user. I don't know that to be factual, but she has been very candid and honest about her journey, and I'm thankful that she's been able to overcome it. But I will never forget how she attacked Whitney Houston and the damage that she inflicted upon Whitney Houston, a celebrity with real talent. And the damage done was severe, in my opinion, and I will never forget that. Wendy Williams built her entire brand around tearing down and attacking black celebrity. She was not on Hot 97 talking about white celebrities and getting viewers and listeners. She was talking about black people. She was taking these personas that took these black people so much time to build, like Whitney Houston. Yeah, Whitney Houston may have been on crack. She may have been strung out in the streets on crack. I don't know. But I do know that she worked hard to get to where she was. Her PR team worked hard. Poor Sissy Houston put her heart into that as well. And then here you have Wendy building a whole career around tearing it down. And it just wasn't Whitney. It was a whole slew of black celebrities. So what Wendy Williams did in the past is not what TMZ and these other networks are doing, because they're giving you a variety of celebrity types. with a bigger focus on white celebrities because that's the majority of their audience. That's why I can't support and condone Wendy Williams and the nastiness of who she is and what she's done, and why I personally feel as though this is karma coming back. But I do agree with you more than anything else that it is like I think we've all said, no matter what, Vince, you're right. It would have been her time to step down. Yeah, it's time for that old hen to go on to the coop.
So let me ask you a question.
She ain't laying no more eggs.
Can I ask
Her
you a
egg
question?
days are over.
Let me ask you a question. If you were to turn your radio to a country radio station, do you expect the host of that country radio show or station to be talking about Black hip hop artists or their celebrities?
I do not.
So why would you expect someone that's on a rap, hip hop syndicated radio station to talk about a whole bunch of white people or white celebrities?
She can talk about who she wants to talk about. I'm not saying she can't. What I'm saying is I don't support it. What I'm saying is I don't support it. My whole point was I'm not supporting her. I'm not supporting her production company. If Wendy Williams purchased Lifetime Television, I'm not gonna watch Lifetime Television.
But you said she brought down Black celebrities.
Black community. That's how she makes her money.
She didn't bring down the Black community. You have to understand, there's a responsibility as a Black person and as a Black celebrity in which you are responsible for, and that's how you conduct yourself. If you as a Black celebrity do things to put yourself out there in the media, then why is it wrong for her to report it?
But what she was reporting on, Sir Ken, is not what people were putting out there. It's what she was putting together and piecing together from gossips. If you listen to the number of horrible interviews that she's done, she continuously will say, I got this from a gossip in the Bronx. I got this from
that means that someone else.
She wasn't getting it from valid, credible news sources, and then she's putting things out at a time when it wasn't easy to verify or fact check, because she was the verifier and she was the fact checker, and it was dangerous and it wasn't the right thing to do, and it was just wrong. Now we live in a world where when someone puts something on social media, we're able to fact check readily and quickly. That wasn't what was happening back in the 90s. Wendy Williams was tearing down and attacking celebrities. But I'll continue. We got to move on. Gentlemen, What do you think? Zach, Vince, anything to add?
Really quickly, I just have to shout out Sha'carri Shepherd in the midst of all of this. She has been extremely resilient and consistent post leaving The View. Whenever she appears on The View, as of lately, whenever she appears on The Real or any talk show, I think she was on Dish Nation or something like that for a short while. Like, she always just has a strong presence. And I just think that this is just a way that God is just honoring her talent and her gift. And also her, past that she has had to overcome. And she was persecuted, went through a crazy divorce as well. So, we can talk about Wendy, but I'm also wanting to celebrate Sha'carri Shepherd for this amazing thing. I love her. She deserved her own show in actuality.
Yeah, she really does.
And that's good, because Wendy is even one of the ones who said nationally that she don't think Sha'carri Shepherd could hold a show on her own. If we do some research on that, Wendy said that herself. And so it's interesting that
it sounds like something she would have said
coming on after her. But then again, my question to you all: do you think Sha'carri Shepherd is the best person to come in? I've seen some bloggers say
I think so.
Nene should be doing it.
No. Nene doesn't have the. She's not cerebral enough to have a talk show. I mean, she would literally be talking about herself or something that she thinks is superficial to make her look in a higher position. It would be boring as fuck. Sha'carri is absolutely I think the best candidate. She's super vibrant. She's funny. She appeals to an audience of all different types of people. She's cerebral. She knows her politics. She can have a conversation about so many different things and be well educated behind it all. She's not a person that will be in one lane where she's only going to focus on one thing. So I think she's perfect.
No, I agree. And to Zach's point about the fact check, it's so good that you said that, because as we know in recent news, since we've been gone, Cardi B sued this Tasha K person to give $4 million for defaming her name and saying some stuff. Yes. So it is real, and these bloggers need to watch out. So
absolutely, I totally agree with that. We talked about that.
This news story broke about Sha'carri and Wendy from a blogger. So it may or may not even be the case. Very briefly, this is not for a long discussion because I know everybody was like, why are we talking about Ukraine? I'm going to briefly talk about this. I want to really open the floor for questions because I do believe there's a lot of not a lot of information around this or even awareness as to why you should care. And so I've been doing a lot of research on the possibility of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, why Russia's doing it, trying to look to see to what extent it might be even relevant or valid. But I think in terms of the American people, we need to look and consider, number one, do we feel as though America has a role to play in protecting a country like Ukraine from Russian invasion? Number two, we have to think about what situations and things happened last year or during the last presidential administration that helped destabilize the international community to embolden a country like Russia to do this, and what role should we play in trying to fix that? And then we have to think about how is it going to impact the world economy. More than anything else, the American people will be most affected by what will happen to us economically if Russia or when Russia invade. So those are the real issues at play. And that's the only reason, gentlemen, I wanted to just briefly touch on this because this is the biggest news story in the political world at the current moment. So, gentlemen, any questions or any thoughts on this issue? And the same thing goes for our viewers. And just to give you as to why Russia says they're doing this, from what I have gathered from my research, is that number one, Russia is saying that the United States is provoking them.
I disagree with that. I think
no, I'm not saying it's true, but I was going to also say why they say that. They're saying that because Russia said they did not want NATO around them. And then we lobby for countries like Poland and to become members of NATO. And now literally countries that border Russia are NATO members. Ukraine wants to also become a member of NATO and have the protection of NATO. And that is why Russia feels that they're being provoked and why they feel they need to engage Ukraine in such a hostile way.
What I read was that there were, I don't want to call them counties, but there were like two separatist regions on the coast of Ukraine and Russia that I guess wanted to, for lack of a better word, I guess annex themselves or something from Ukraine.
You do have that.
And join Russia. Or
you have separatist groups in Ukraine who feel as though that the Ukraine should have never left Russia and should still be a part of Russia, and they're Russian loyalists. Now, you saw this also happen in Afghanistan. You had people in Afghanistan who wanted to be away from the organized elected democratic government of Afghanistan, and they wanted Taliban rule. So that exact same style of action is here in Ukraine. I do believe that it's no way you can separate or say that, to what extent was Russia emboldened by America's failures in Afghanistan and how poorly that withdrawal happened and how quickly Afghanistan fell in Taliban rule. Like how now I'm thinking to myself, was that a model for how Russia could now attack and take over Ukraine and set up their own type of government with these separatists in that country? Because they're even saying there's a kill list of people and types of people that will be killed and put in constant in like camps in Ukraine and targets on like certain types of intellectual, certain types of religious groups and members of the LGBTQI plus community, all certain death or camps. That is the American intelligence reporting at the moment.
That's
so
what you know. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so what is your question about this?
Should we, if Russia invades, should the United States take action on behalf of Ukraine?
Well, we've already started to make that motion occur right now. And that's only solely because we are allies. And that's something that's just unfortunately and fortunately the way that the world is, where we have to cooperate and be supportive of our allies. And honestly, I think that if this doesn't get under some type of control, we may be looking at another world war. And unfortunately, this is all because you have someone in a position that has all of a sudden within 10 years become fascinated with the old Russia. And, they just pretty much want to have Russia the way that it was. And I feel like, we have to, come to the defense of Ukraine, but the scary part about it is you have China that is going to come to the defense with Russia, which we all know China has like the number one pretty much disciplined military in the world, the largest in the world. And China, they are on a whole different type of level when it comes to intelligence. If you all have forgotten, they are the only country in the world that built a hospital in 1 week, a 7-story hospital at that. And they are actually the only country right now that has COVID-19 under a stable and controlled condition. And so that's the only scary part, because you got to think about it, who we are teaming up against and what we have to look forward to. America, I will say, being that I am a veteran, we do actually have the best military in the world. However, we're looking at the best as far as numbers in comparison to a large group of soldiers in a country that's so disciplined. We think about the sacrifices that we as American soldiers compare to those in China. They're literally willing to commit suicide for their soldiers, for their team. So you got people that would do literally anything as far as it comes to defense versus, soldiers that's not really going to be willing to make that type of sacrifice. It's going to be scary. It's going to be scary, but it's just one of those things that happens when you have a crazy ass person in a position that, pretty much just want to be greedy.
So, and this is a question because I haven't really heard about this as far as, have we sent military forces over yet? Because the only thing that I've heard Biden say and mention was recently today that he would intact some issues on those two countries that
sanctions. He's imposed new sanctions against Russia.
Countries that
the United States has been providing military supplies and weaponry and armory to the Ukrainian people for a long time. In regards to like actual military troops,
but nobody
yet.
Okay.
So it was before. This has been ongoing. President Obama actually was a huge supporter of Ukraine, because he knew that a strong presence he knew this day would come. This was one of the major things he prepared for. And again, it was about stabilizing Europe and Asia as a whole. Now, this area has been destabilized. And again, a large part of that goes back to number 45. Or 40.
Yeah.
45.
Yeah, 45. And unfortunately, this is crazy.
Happy President's Day, America.
Right.
So my thing is, when people say that this has the potential to become another world war, unfortunately, just looking at how World War II sort of came about, it was because an agreement was broken. Germany did not agree with the agreement that was posed to them per World War I. And then you had a crazy, communist leader Hitler come around, yada 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 yada. And so, looking at the New York Times report, apparently the agreement, the Mirk or Mirth, something, it's some weird M word or whatever agreement that was set in position to prevent those separatists of not separating from Ukraine. And Russia, Putin was quoted, I don't know, today or recently saying that Ukraine is Russia. This was our land first, yada, 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 yada. Now that we got these loyalists on our side, we want to break the agreement. So it seems like it's actually running in step of how World War II actually began. And now if you're saying that Putin is already declaring that there are different camps and, lists being created against marginalized communities and people that they are not in favor of, that is the same mindset that Hitler had going into World War II, So, I think that America should definitely be concerned. And even with the piece of why America is so invested, Zach, I know you hit around what happened last election cycle. I know Hunter Biden was brought up in a lot of conversations with the oil and gas and things going on with Ukraine and, you know, his ins and outs. Not saying it was true, not saying it was false, but that was a big thing that the right was sort of pushing against the Biden-Harris campaign or what have you. So I don't know if that is maybe not majority, but a good piece as of why, you know, we should be concerned about that. I know people in the comments on CNN have saying that, oh, well, gas prices are about to really skyrocket
It's
now.
going to be the economic impact on America that's going to be most relevant to our lives.
It's something to be cognizant of as Americans.
Gas prices are going to go up. Our economy is already, you know, it's in a different place, right? Like I was watching the Reverend Warnock commercial about Georgians are hurting, but then we see a booming economy in a different kind of way. Although inflation has taken up, inflation is oftentimes a side effect of a good economy. Prices are going up because people are buying. Yes. People are buying. If people weren't buying, prices would not be going up at this rate. Compounded by
and also the scarcity of supplies too.
Supply chain.
Yeah.
Because still out on the boats out there. Still,
it's both. Yes. It's both things. But a lot of the supply chain issues have been they're being addressed. So that is something that is continuously and ongoing being addressed, and but still prices aren't going down. But when we stop buying, prices will go down.
They will go down. Yeah.
When we stop buying. But you know, while when we stop buying, you guys are still watching. You still watch the Olympics. Although the Olympics did our girl wrong, and I've been boycotting the Olympics for a long time. But this only added fuel to the fire. You were gonna add in Vince.
Really quickly, I just wanted to not correct something, but it's called the Minsk Agreement. The Minsk Protocol is an agreement which sought to end war in the Donbas region of Ukraine. It was written in 2014 by the Trilateral Contract Group on Ukraine, consisting of Ukraine, the Russian Federation. So that's what they agreed to do, and now they, want to end it. That's what it's called, the Minsk Agreement.
And also wanting to add in about, Hitler was not communist; he was a Nazi. And it was more aligned to Nazism and not communism. Correct. But in this situation, we had the Olympic Committee. We had Sha'carri. We all know this summer tested positive for drug use. She did admit that she had been smoking marijuana. She was not allowed to compete. At the Winter Olympics, this young lady, I keep forgetting how to say her name. Is it Kamila? Kamila was also tested positive for drug use and was allowed to compete, although the world thought she was going to win gold. She failed a lot of times. She didn't win. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it really brought up a lot of concerns about to what extent are the Olympics did race factor into this? Was this fair? Why were the two sets of rules for two different types of athletes? Gentlemen, what were your thoughts on this situation? Personally, I didn't watch any of it. I don't care. She could fall and keep on falling. The whole Olympics could fall. They could fall off the TV. I'm boycotting Olympics, but I want to know what you guys say. It was a big issue.
Well, the way you presented it, you made it seem like the girl had like cocaine or like a drug, like illegal drug in her body.
It was an illegal substance.
Well, it was a medication.
It was illegal.
Okay. So basically, and I may be wrong as far as the type, but allegedly it was a medication. Her grandfather's is what they're saying, a medication for the heart, and which is kind of crazy because the way they say that she got in her system is that she was drinking, and so that's how she got it. I don't know the side effects or what.
She's Russian,
right? So I don't know.
Do we really trust that Russian athletes are not illegally doping and that this one got caught? After they recently had that huge doping scandal to where they can't even participate under the name of their country.
Zach, we have to check our bias.
The thing is, I think she's 15 years old?
Yeah, she's a little girl, yeah.
So for me, it's more so I'm not so much putting the blame so much on her, but more so her parents. Because honestly, I don't even think that she would be old enough to even know what exactly she's doing. I think it was more so her following the lead of the people that's over her. So I pretty much put more so blame on the parents and the team. However, I think that in this situation, Sha'carri and this young lady and her family, the team, I feel like they're both wrong. I feel like when you're in these positions and you get these situations, these opportunities rather, to compete in the Olympics, it's kind of like, you know, you got to put your big boy britches on. You know you cannot have drugs in your system. Regardless of the situation, I feel like drugs is not the answer. You know, we all want to win in all fairness. We want fairness treated towards us when we're competing, and that's just the bottom line. Now, was it a racist, I guess, attempt or comparison? You can look at it that way. I feel like they both were wrong. I feel like she shouldn't have competed. I also feel like what Sha'carri happened to her should have happened as well. It's unfortunate, and it's just one of those things, like you say, in Russia, that's what they do, you know?
Well, I mean, this is my thing. Taking Sha'carri Richardson out of the conversation and adding Marion Jones to the conversation, who actually had to give back her 5 medals in the 2000 Australian Olympics because she took performance-enhancing drugs, just like this 15-year-old Russian. So, yeah, we could say, you know, tit for tat, weed versus, you know, medication, but then you can have another black woman that had a performance enhancement drug, just like 15-year-old Russian chick had a performance enhancement drug, and Marion, again, had to surrender those 5 medals, but this young lady had the opportunity to keep on keeping on. My thing is that America has won the most Olympic medals out of any country ever. Like, we darn near close to 3,000 medals. Second runner up to us is the United Kingdom with only 298 medals. I really feel like the United States is a coward. I feel like though we may not have power, we do have influence. I do also believe that at the end of the day, looking at sports, you know, just on the entire apparatus of it all, I'm sure that there are other countries that want to be treated fairly that could become an ally if the U.S. or anybody would start speaking out and make sure that all these athletes are held accountable, and what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't care how many rotations of leadership may have happened from 2000 to 2022. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. What you did 22 years ago is not up to par of how you are handling this, whether it's winter and or summer. You still get a gold medal, period, gold, silver, whatever the case is. So my irritation about this story came from the Marion Jones aspect of it all, because she was done wrong.
Yeah, she was absolutely done wrong. I agree with you, Vince, with that. I think it's just something where somehow there needs to be a universal inspection. Some rules or something either need to be altered, or everything just needs to be completely changed.
The Olympics need to be canceled. We need to stop watching it. We need to stop supporting it. We need to stop giving it credibility. Here's the thing. They continuously tell us who they are. And you're right, Vince. The American Olympic Committee should have taken a strong stance in this issue. It's one thing for them to have not fought for Sha'carri because Sha'carri was wrong, but for this to happen, for them not to call the double standard out, to me is another slap in the face to Black people and athletes in this country. It is, to me, I agree with you 120% on that. In addition to that, come on. You mean to tell me this little girl was drinking after her grandfather and got some of his heart medication in her system so much from his little lips, right? Because grandpa ain't got
3 medications.
But grandpa ain't got no lips like mine.
One was illegal.
Her grandpa ain't got no lips like mine. And so, you know, them little lips on that cup was enough for her to get that in her heart and her system? Absolutely not. They are doping these kids up. And that's not on necessarily the parents. That's on the whole entire system. That's how it works with these athletes. That's why they got busted. And they are coming up with very careful, very good drugs and ways of doing these things. This is the same country that literally tries to poison people abroad, and you can't ever even prove that these people are dying by the Russian agents and the double agents and the poison. They know what they're doing. So again, I want the Olympics out of business.
But also thinking, and this is me thinking about the Sha'carri Richardson piece and thinking about performance enhanced drug versus drugs that could be considered illegal in some parts of some countries, like the marijuana she was accused of. Do you think there needs to be a difference between the overhaul of performance enhanced drug versus uppers and downers? Because some people might be on depression.
Drugs are drugs.
But they are.
They're not allowed. They're just not allowed.
They're not allowed. And my thing is marijuana. Was it really going to enhance her performance? Because most people
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, was she really going to run faster or just be chill? Because that's what I think.
No. Marijuana absolutely is a performance enhancing drug.
It's not.
What does it enhance?
I literally talked about this before on the show, Zach, when I talked about I am a runner and I run with people that smoke weed before races because there are strands of marijuana that give them greater endurance.
CBD, marijuana.
Oh, not THC. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, you're right. She didn't smoke marijuana. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. But marijuana itself absolutely does cause performance enhancement. Some strains.
Okay. Now, wait. Another thing is this. I heard that CBD doesn't actually. CBD doesn't. What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't work unless there's THC involved. So it has to have THC in order to react.
Oh, I don't know about that. You know, that's the chemistry of your illegal substances and what you do in your home is on you. I don't know how that chemistry works.
I'm completely drug free. Thank you very much.
I'm not a smoker.
You tried it.
Even when it becomes legal, I'm not gonna be a smoker. Like that's just not me. But again, like I said, I know people who run, and there's a whole thing called 420 running. It's a whole movement of runners.
There is, but it's not to enhance their running.
They say that it makes them run faster and it makes them run better. They say it absolutely makes them run better. I know when I run, my body hurts. I am now at that age in my life that when I run, my body hurts. My body hurts when I'm running, and then my body hurts the next day. Like right now, I am sore from running yesterday. And I'm thinking to myself, had I smoked some marijuana drugs, then maybe I would not be hurting right now. But I'm not going to do that to this king's vessel. Not yet. Now, when I'm older, I might do it.
Hey, can I mention something, a positive note about the whole Olympics, even though I know you're against it? Did y'all see
old enough to be on live talking to you?
Ooh, 61. But do y'all remember? I mean, did you guys pay attention to the young lady that has now been the most decorated African-American woman for the bomb sledding activities, Alana Taylor? I think that was something good, and I just wanted to mention that she has 5 total, I think.
Awesome.
But she didn't.
You know what's her name? I'll make a TikTok about her.
Her name is Alana Mayers Taylor, and the thing was, people were giving her a lot of backlash because she's biracial. Her father is Black. But she identifies as Black. Her husband is Black, and she actually, for a minute, I thought she was transgender, but she's not. She's a real woman, and so yeah.
You about to get blocked, Facebook user. I don't know. You better be glad they say Facebook user. So when I go and do my research and I see who you are,
he's 50. It's okay.
I thought you said 60, Zach.
We'll never know, but it's 50.
Now, I want to go back and say, you know, I have to end on a negative note, though, Sha'carri, about the Olympics. I thought about something. Think about this. No, really. Do you remember this summer, a couple summers ago, when they were literally going to ban Black athletes for wearing the wrong kind of headgear in the swimming?
Yes.
They were going to literally
ban protesting or taking a knee or anything.
So you're going to do all of that to police Black people, but you're going to let little bitty, you're going to let the little girl from Russia have 3 strands of heart medication pumping through her veins and skate herself on into Olympic glory.
So what do you suggest we do?
We boycott the Olympics. We make it known. We make it known that we as a community are not happy with the double standard. We make it known, and we literally say we are no longer supporting the Olympics. We're not supporting the Olympics, and we're not going to support brands who support the Olympics.
So, Zach, what about the people who work hard to make it to that stage in life and levels? Isn't that kind of
You want me to be honest with you?
We know
if you were to Google, this is so true because this is a serious thing across the board, and I hate to say it, but people literally push these dreams on children and on people, and they give up massive parts of their life in pursuit of these dreams and goals to be this great Olympic athlete, to then suffer with lifelong depression and anxiety afterwards. So I want you to Google the amount of therapy and support that is being given by the Olympic Committee itself to the athletes because of the damage done to those athletes by this process. Am I saying that is it is what it is? I guess I'd say it is what it is, but something needs to be done to retool and refresh and reconsider this, because again, people are sacrificing and losing a lot in this process. And I learned all of this as I've been doing my research around it, and it makes me even more committed to saying I will never again support the Olympics. And I believe in individual sports actually a lot more than I believe in group sports. When you want to talk about how do you recognize athletes who do all this work and get to that great level, every year you have world championships anyway. Every year you have what's called nationals. Instead of having the 4-year Olympic gold,
those are qualifiers.
Why can't the national every year be the gold standard? Why can't your world competition or your nationals competition, why can't that be the highlight? Why do you have to have a 4-year Olympic medal or process when you already have these same countries, Russia, China, and the United States, competing in the world championship every year anyway? The Olympics is nothing but a capitalistic money machine, making people rich at the sake of athletic ability, because the athletes are the ones suffering. You get $50,000 for getting a gold medal, yet you have made the International Olympic Committee this massive amount of money.
All sports games, though, where it be NBA, NFL, MLB, is capitalism.
And I don't support any of it.
So you don't watch sports?
I am slowly learning that what you just said is accurate, and I can't support it.
I'm also going to add the fact of the inner environmentalist.
You see this gray? You see this gray? I'm not using just for men.
Oh my God, great. But no, on a serious tip, even as we go through protecting our climate and all these things. So this year, the Winter Olympics in Beijing is, I want to say, I think it's like over 90% fake snow. And all of that fake snow is extremely toxic to the environment once they do away with it. And so that Beijing and other portions of China that are hosting these sites, it's not going to be good for just the globe or what have the entire world in terms of environmentals. So in terms of just the environment. So yeah, there's some things that need to be rectified. I know they're already looking at coming back to Salt Lake City in 2030 something. For that Winter Olympics, but
if Lisa Barlow is the host, I may watch that one. That'll be the only way that I'll be watching. If Lisa Barlow is the actual host, and maybe Vita Tequila is like a sponsor.
No, Barlow.
I almost pulled a needy and closed my computer screen.
The last topic that we have is Kim Potter getting only 2 years for the murder of Deontay Wright. And we'll end on a happier note. We'll figure out a way before we go into the after show on IG. But there was no way that we couldn't talk about this tonight because it's still breaking news. Look at that smile that she had when she got arrested. And now it makes me feel like we know why the smile was there.
Of course. I mean, what did you think was going to happen?
I thought maybe because she was found guilty, we'd have a level of justice like what we had in the unfortunate murder of George Floyd. And even Derek Chauvin was found guilty, and he was sentenced accordingly.
That
but
wasn't
even
even
in
justice
that,
to me.
but even in that, the judge that presided over this case kept utilizing the George Floyd case to back up why Kim only got 2 years, because George was intentionally murdered or whatever, and Kim, it was a
She made a
tragic
mistake.
accident. Yeah, so you mean to tell me that 2 years equates to somebody's life? That the word tragedy equates to only 2 years. That don't even make sense. I'm just so upset. I am so upset with that judge and the audacity to just utilize George Floyd's that
And then
use that case as a precedent.
And then to use quotations from President Obama during Black History Month was just a disgrace. And I think what hurt me the most was to see the mom say that she felt like her son had been murdered all over again.
Yeah.
That really got me. That really got me. It's just like you have people behind bars for selling marijuana doing more time than this woman that has murdered somebody. Like, where does that make sense? And all people are just saying this was because she's a police officer. It's because she's a police officer. Like, when are we going to, like, reform? Like, not defund, but reform all of this. When are we going to start? Like, people are saying we need to implement a scanning system where we actually investigate each person that we employ as a police officer to see where they stand mentally as far as how they feel about minorities and other groups. But how is that really going to determine? Like, you can't really say, okay, well, do you like Black people? Yeah, I like Black people. Okay, we're going to hire you. Like a Klansman is really going to say, I hate Black people, or I hate gay people, or I hate
there's some
Jews.
tests out there that people use. It's a lot of people taking, if you all have
bias
time,
confirmation test.
The Harvard implicit association test. It's free and it's by different identities, race, gender, social class, all those, and it shows you where you stand on some of those levels.
And with those, I'll say this: what we need is even I don't know if there's anything that can be done to stop racists from being racist, but what there is ways to penalize your racist actions. Correct. You can think what you want, and that's the problem, is that when police officers commit these crimes, they have insurance, they have support, they're not paying the real cost for their actions. All of that needs to come out. The police departments themselves need to be held accountable for the actions of their officers in the same way that other employers are held accountable for the actions of their employees. And the police officer, him or herself, also need to be subject to being sued without this massive insurance fund that sets up and exists for officers. So all of that is a part of the process. But again, we do need the George Floyd in Policing Act passed, but it's not going to get passed as long as we have a Senate that is not, well, that's 50-50. It's not Senate, it's Republicans too. We can't let those 50 Republicans that sit down and do nothing every single vote, but vote no off the hook, because they also have people, they're in states where they shouldn't be there either. And so all of that, and to be honest with the last point, I guess to really say, if anything else, if there ever is a reason to say why Black people need to vote in every election, regardless of who is running and regardless of how much you like Joe Biden or not, it is the fact that federal judges get appointed by this president. And when you don't put someone who at least considers Black issues in power, you get judges like this, who will literally use the words of a Black president to do damage to Black people.
And then that's what I'm saying. Not only are we need to educate in our offices, there needs to be some education in the justice system. And so I've been working overhaul, but also like in the justice system to understand some culture norms, as well as some culture bias and things that exist.
Do you feel like there needs to be a college degree requirement to be a police officer? That maybe, or some type of educational course training where these officers, rather than just, because you can literally just go to your training right out of high school and become a police officer. So what do you think, do you think there should be like some type of educational training or degree or something that these people...
I think that's a great idea, but in addition to that method, if that were to be in place, I still think, and Zach often says this, we can have racist police do all these things till they blue in the face, but if the policies and the rules and the guidelines do not change, then they can have a degree, they can have a master's in public safety. But if that law in Minnesota say if such and such can kill somebody and only get 2 years, then that is what is going to be withstanding to this day. And so to that, I also feel that I hope Mayor Garland, because I think it was after the Dante Wright shooting, is when he really launched that investigation into the whole Minnesota thing. Something going on up there in Minnesota, because they done had 2 minutes, George Floyd and
Amir Lott just happened.
Exactly, like it's Minnesota. The judge portion, the police portion, they just need to shut that thing down and clean house, because something going on up there.
But the funny thing about Minnesota is like the birthplace of a lot of diversity stuff. And then that's interesting. And a lot of this stuff is happening in Minnesota.
But here's the thing that we always have to realize: there is a counter movement to every movement. There's an opposite reaction to every action. And that's what you see. You're right. Minnesota has a lot of diversity issues. They have a large, diverse population. They have a lot of immigrants. They've opened their doors to immigrants from Somalia, other places. The hatred and the racism that comes is a reaction to that. Reconstruction of the United States of America had more Black people elected to office and rise to great prominence in any other time in American history. The Klan and Jim Crow was a direct reaction to that. Donald Trump, in some ways, was a direct reaction to President Obama. That is the unfortunate push and pull of America, and we will continue to talk about that on another day. Please join us on IG Live for the after show as we talk about some topics. Vince talked about this versus, and they wanted to charge, but it didn't go too good.
They want to charge for it?
Monique is still out here demanding justice that she ain't got.
About that.
And we're going to talk about that and to what extent Monique needed is going to get it. We're going to talk about Abbott Elementary, a show that many of you watch because you sit up, you loving the show. I have not seen one episode, but I'm going to watch them all at one time. I don't like to watch a little bit. I like to watch the whole show. I'm a binger. And the Queen got COVID, okay? How about that? The Queen got COVID. And we're going to talk about, do you care, okay? So see us on IG, follow on IG, the BBC show, live on WTT Radio on iHeart Wednesdays at 9 p.m. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait for you to invite the three of us to join your show.
Come to the radio station. I will definitely set it up. Y'all let me know y'all available.
What Beyonce do?
Oh,
is Beyonce in the news?
She had another baby through surrogacy.
Really?
Today. Yeah, today.
Beyonce done popped out a baby today out of somebody else?
2 of them, yep.
You lying.
What?
I'm lying. I just want to get
I'm going to say, Wendy Williams. We have a live Wendy Williams moment right here.
No,
Wendy Williams in the house. We will see you back next week. Join us right now on the IG.